I finally snapped. I think I finally snapped and understand what do I like and what do I don't like when it comes to fiction. And I like stuff that is serious and wacky at the same time. If it's not that, I don't care. Like, I'm gonna be really honest. The only reason why I just figured this out now for myself is mainly because I was watching Machina-san is a robot, which that anime I was like, oh, I was glazed hard as hell for in the first episode. And then as I watched episode 2 and 3, because I didn't really catch up with it at all, I had had a chance to. But when I was watching it, I slowly realized, man, the MC is such a wuss in this, right? The male MC is so trash. Because literally, the whole damn time, you got this fine robot. Sure, she doesn't know how to smash either, but at the very same time, it's not helping your case when you're just whining and screeching about not wanting to smash, and at the very same time, just being really overly annoying, right? That is literally the unfortunate part in a really well animated show, is that the main character is just a wuss. And obviously, we talked about this like a little while ago. This is annoying as hell that anime pulls this a lot of the time, and it's never really fun to watch, right? And the same kind of sort of way, I kind of feel about this in most animes, and really a lot of ecchi shows that kind of, focuses really hard. But that's not the only thing I was really kind of figuring out about, snapping and clicking into what I actually like. Because then there's the 100-line Defense Academy, right? There's that game that just came out yesterday. And I'm not gonna lie, the game looks great. It looks really damn good. And I've been seeing a lot of people praise the hell out the game, which I hope the game does well, and I hope Kodaka doesn't go into debt forever and makes another game after this. I really do. That being said, boy oh boy, do I hate the fact that it's a tactics game, and because it's a strategy tactics game, it's not for me. It's not for me, and I can't sit here and just want to watch the story if I'm not playing the game. That is literally how it is for me, right? It has the right amount of wackiness, the right amount of serious storytelling, but at the very same time, it's just not in the scope of gameplay I would be willing to spend a whole bunch of money for. That's annoying, right? So now, anytime I see this cast of characters, or these cast of characters in the 100 line, it's not going to be something I mess with, because I don't know what the hell they're like. And again, if it's not for me, that's perfectly fine. I'm not gonna sit here and just like, oh, everything needs to be catered to me, right? But at the same time, it's gonna be kind of hard for me to really give a shit about something when I'm not necessarily, messing with it at all. And I think that was the point where I figured out, oh wow, I kind of understand where, more of my ties is when it comes down to things I enjoy. I like shit, and really, I like stories that is genuinely just wacky as hell and serious as hell too, right? That can tell a serious story and be just as wacky, right? I know a lot of people probably do not like it for these stories, or it has to be in a sort of situation where it depends on what is being focused more. But at the same time, overall, just that's kind of where my headspace is at. And to give you examples, a story I think that's very good and I really super enjoy, I mean, the easiest stuff would be something like Fire Force. Fire Force, especially with today's episode, if you watch that, that was by far the definition of what I'm looking for. Where you have characters in a serious scenario, oh, we could really lose our lives here, but then there's wackiness like, everybody take your pants off, we're fine with being naked, we done nude calendars, and just like, huh? You're just like, wait, why? What does that have to do with anything? And you're kind of confused, but it also makes sense because of the opponent that they're fighting and whatever, or how they have to basically take all the iron they got and put it on Tamaki's butt and just make it like a melting pot of hot ass. It's amazing. It's dumb and it's amazing, and it doesn't need to be anything like overly serious and crazy, or at least one part doesn't feel like it's being left out than another part. And when you do get episodes where, that seriousness is super much in the forefront, that's perfectly fine, because they're gonna pull back with some other funny dumb stuff as well that's gonna make the show pretty much a really good time. You know, Fire Force is probably the best example I have, and that's why it's like the third best anime I've ever seen, right? When it came down to my favorites of anime of all time, it is the third best for me. Then you get some, like, you know, obviously the classic DxD, which we will be talking about DxD in a later video, mainly to do with the shitty website game that they came out with just recently, because I got words for that. But when it comes down to it though, DxD is perfectly fine too, because it got more serious story stuff than I'd say the wackier stuff, but it still is a nice balance of what you're trying to get here. And yes, while the main character is obviously a bitch and a wuss, and a lot of things I could go into right now, because F that guy, but when it comes down to it, the one thing I will give it credit for is that it's unapologetic for what it is, and it doesn't really feel like, at least within the anime space of it, doesn't feel like it's trying to change itself to be, you know, less of anything and stuff like that. I've heard in the actual light novels that it kind of tones it down, but hopefully that's not the case for the anime. So, you know, we'll have to see if we ever get another season. But when it comes down to it though, it has the right tone I'm looking for. And the same thing I can say for things like, you know, Danganronpa, right? Love Danganronpa because of how wacky it is. And then there is a story that you can care for, and then the characters are there, but they're being seriously wacky. And it's nice to see. Again, when you have stuff that is genuinely like, let's go on a story, but also let's have fun with it and just be done with it, that's the best stuff. To me, that's like the best stuff that you could possibly ever really have, right? Like, of course I want to see, you know, serious moments and things be taken serious when it needs to be, sure, but at the same time, if you're gonna just have the show be like that forever, I'm mostly not gonna sit here and care. Like, for example, I think Frieren would be a good example for this, where it's like, oh, Frieren is really good and it teaches you things, or at least it reminds you about things in life and stuff. That's fine, but I'll never get into it because it's not wacky enough for me. That is literally how it is, you know? And that's not me saying, oh, Frieren's a bad show, or any show like that is a bad show. No, Frieren's a great show, but at the same time, I would highly less watch it if, you know, if it's just going to be serious all the time. If it was a bit more wackier with weirder shit happening into it, I'd probably watch it and eat that shit up like it's actual candy. Like, I'm not even going to sit here and joke, right? That's just how it is. Another show I'd probably say that's also following the same pretty much formula, or at least two shows, if we gotta have one that's not so serious and just more comedy-ish, and then one that can be serious, would have been Edaton Deities and Interspecies Reviewer. Again, same person made the shows, which, no shit, they'll be a really good, you know, shows to honestly sit your ass down and watch, honestly. Right? Edaton's a bit more serious, but also it doesn't hold your hand. It doesn't want to hold your hand. It's just basically telling you, this is how the world works in this show. We have crazy ass things just to happen, and to be honest, that's the ride that you're in for. Unfortunately, the damn manga is just taking 5,000 years and don't know what the hell's actually the story is about, or what's it trying to do after the damn anime ended. But when it comes down to it though, it is so damn good for what the adventure is, for what it could potentially set up for whenever something new actually happens. It's a great time, right? It has that tone of seriousness and also that tone of just wacky nature. Miku, again, possibly one of the greatest anime characters to ever exist, out here getting her cheeks ran by Shotas while also being a masterful tactician. Like, it's great. It is a great ass time. Interspecies Reviewer is a show that obviously does not take itself seriously whatsoever, and does have a little bit of a serious, or at least I guess a standard plot point when it comes down to it, with the demons trying to get some type of good recognition and whatever. But is that the plot point? I don't really know. But at the end of the day, it still gives you enough wackiness, and it leans into the field of what ecchi is trying to do, or at least the ecchi of that show is trying to do, and really goes in hard. You might as well just make it a hentai at that point. But when it comes down to it though, at least it goes in and not apologizes for what it is, versus a lot of shows that, like a Machina-san, is a robot who has all the keys to make it work right, and only for you to fail because you just didn't hammer it home. That's the whole thing. You have all the tools you need to build a house, and yet you just sit here and just say, nah, I'm good. I'm not gonna sit here and do that. Why? You said you wanted to. You have the keys. Do it. You said you had the motivation, and then you just choose not to? Why? Like, I'm gonna be real. I just appreciate shows that are just unapologetic and just go into what they're going to do and be real with you, right? If you're in a situation where someone like Makina-san is in your bed, what are you going to do? Sure, she might not know how to clap, but you can teach her, right? I feel like the show would be better if the guy was essentially, you know, somebody that was an actual expert in how to clap cheeks, but Makina-san, for whatever reason, just comedically doesn't get it, right? And you can keep that gag going on for a while, and that's perfectly fine. She'll experiment with other things except the person that she, you know, is trying to rizz up or whatever, or trying to get with or whatever, and all that sort of stuff. That will be way better of a story than just whiny Shota boy don't want anything to do with this because reasons, and really there is no reason at all. He's just doing stuff because he's a virgin and he take pride in that for whatever dumbass reason. I have never seen that ever before, and it's sad. It is extremely sad. Literally put that in anybody else's hands in that situation, I think pretty much every single person, unless you are really just not for it, or you're just somebody that's really boring, would probably clap Makina-san. She's a robot, so it doesn't necessarily matter at the end of the dang day, right? It is what it is. We all clapping, we all having a good time, it's gonna be amazing, right? And that's how you can make a story better, by just, again, making the characters just go in, not apologize for anything, right? Why do you think I like something like Harriman Labyrinth of Another World? It's good because the main character is not here being like, oh, should I clap or not? Oh, maybe I should do something outside first, maybe garden first, and then I'll decide on my decision. No, he's like, I came here to buy a slave, and I'm here to F that slave. Crazy out of context, but if you watch the show, it makes perfect sense. Yes, if you have someone like Roxanne on your side, of course you're gonna clap that. You bought her. Literally, that's how that world works. Of course you're gonna do that, right? Same thing with, like, you know, the dang dwarf chick. I can't think of the name. It starts with an S. But when it comes down, I think Shirley. But when it comes down to it, I don't know. But when it comes down to it, though. Like, yes, I'm gonna clap the dang dwarf chick. Are you insane? That's insane not to do so. I'm like, what are we doing here, right? And that's, and even when it comes down to shows that I don't like Redo a Healer, I don't like that show at all. I think it's trash, if I'm being honest. That being said, I can at least respect the main character. At least not really respect the main character, but respect the idea that the main character wants revenge and is just gonna straight up take what he wants and go to the fullest with it, right? If it's going to be just forcibly taking somebody's cheeks, he's gonna do that. And at least the show goes with it and not just, you know, beat around the bush around the concept of revenge. Just go with it. Do it. Even if it's messed up to a lot of people, I would rather a character do that in a fictional setting or whatever, because fiction can do that, and it's something that would be weird not to do, instead of just, you know, I guess going around the problem, I suppose. It just hella weird. It genuinely just is. I respect the hell out of shows that genuinely are unapologetic, wacky, and serious, and then they just don't necessarily care what has to be done. They're just gonna go for it, right? That's why I respect the hell out of Dangan, right? Even when it comes down to 100 Line, probably amazing, you know, with its cast of characters and personalities. I just can't really, you know, play it because of, again, tactics. I'm not trying to play Fort Condor. I'm not trying to sit here and play that whack-ass robot minigame in FS7 and Cosmo Canyon. You know the one. That one's shit. But when it comes down to it, if I can sit here and enjoy a story or a game that has both of the qualities I'm looking for and it's unapologetic in it, that's amazing. That's why, for the longest of time, I've been making my own damn series, right? That's why I do the series on the channel, because half the time I'm watching anime or playing a game or whatever, they're not giving me what exactly I'm looking for, exactly what I like to see. And so that's why you have that story that exists, because it's like, well, if no one else is going to be wacky and serious, much less be unapologetic in what it's trying to do, then damn it, I'll do it myself. Call me Thanos, it is what it is. But at the end of the day, that's really what I like to see. Sure, that story also is kind of being really slow, and granted, I can't help that because this last week was really annoying, and it's still kind of annoying because there's things to still kind of be done. But at the very same time, you know, it's just like, I like writing that stuff, right? Sure, we're gonna have a lot of crazy stuff that happens in it, but if you can ride with that, you're gonna have a good time with it too. But overall, my whole point is just that when it comes down to anime, games, or whatever, I just like things that are just full scented, right? Just send that shit into the stratosphere, up her ass, and that's just how it is. I'd rather have that a million times over than not have that, right? Just not be unapologetic, not be serious, not be, you know, super wacky, or just be serious and no wackiness. That's the boring shit. I don't want to watch boring shit. That's why a lot of shows do not catch my interest, right? They just don't. Something like Kakaguri is an example of just like, oh, there's actually a serious plot into this show, or a plot that's pretty much a big deal, but because the characters act so extravagant and crazy, that's what made the show work for me, at least the first season of why I gave a damn, because it's amazing. Who wouldn't want to watch high schoolers gamble and essentially go on the damn deep end of mentalities and all that type of stuff? It sounds like a fun ass time, right? That's why the show was so damn good in season 1, right? But when you don't have that stuff, it just becomes boring. I don't know what else to tell you. I like to see just, I really I feel like what this really comes down to is just I also like to see creativity, right? People being creative and just being absolutely in their bag with it is the best kind of shit that you can get, at least from me, right? And it sucks that a lot of people do not care for it, the wacky culture, the creativity and stuff like that, and just want bare bones basic stuff all the damn time, or things similar to another thing. It sucks. It genuinely does. But for me personally, that's kind of what I'm looking for, right? Hell, even when it comes down to NSFW artists, as we do the whole artist appreciation, I look for wacky art styles and just things that are out there, because those things are different. Those things aren't your typical drawings, and you know, they have to try to make something weird and extravagant, and that's fun. But yeah, essentially I guess that's the whole point. Essentially, there's a lot of things in this world that exist for other people, and that's perfectly fine. Again, that's okay. But when I'm trying to find something wacky and good and interesting, that's the secret sauce shit. That's the sauce I'm here for mainly, right? So yeah, I guess that's pretty much all I got to say for this one. Mainly just me to complain, right? Just me to kind of complain and stuff. That's just how it is. Again, there ain't nothing wrong with a serious story, or you know, something along the lines where it's like it's hella story driven and there's not much to play around with. If the story's compelling enough, I'll give a damn. That's why I like Genshin and Kingdom Hearts and stuff like that, which if you've seen the Genshin live stream for today, holy shit am I excited, and holy shit am I excited for the 30th for some moon lore. So that's just how it is for me. But ultimately, I'm gonna just leave this here, but let me know in the comments, how do you feel about wacky stories, much less how do you really like it? Is it just too much wackiness? Do you like that? Or do you like the so much seriousness of this stories or whatever? Do you like it when stories go unapologetic when it comes down to how it's gonna cook? Let me know, because again, something like Makina-san should have been an amazing ass like ecchi show, comedy or whatever, perfectly fine, but then it has all those other basic issues. Again, just to be real, it's like Japan has all the best ideas, and then they have everything they need to the kingdom, and then ultimately they throw the key away, and then they just like, where the key at? It's baffling to me, and I hate it so much. And again, that's why sometimes you gotta do it your damn self. But that's ultimately what I really want to say for this one. So hopefully you did enjoy. If you did, be sure to like, share, subscribe, hit the button to get showing out. Also follow me on the socials, and if you'd like to donate to the channel, Kofi and Cash App is available as well. And until this, man, boy Jay, signing off. Have a blessed day.